Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here. We just got out of our executive session, so the next item on our agenda is going to be awards and recognition. So I will turn it over to our superintendent, Elizabeth Kirby, for the awards and recognitions.
Thank you very much. All right. Good evening and welcome, everyone. Back in January, 17 of our students took the American Mathematics Competition 8. The AMC 8 is a 25-question, 40-minute multiple-choice exam in middle school mathematics designed to promote the development of problem-solving skills. We have had 2 students score exceptionally high on this test. I will now turn it over to Joyce Bukovac, our district's illustrious math instructional specialist, to help us recognize these students.
Thank you. As noted by Ms. Kirby, this year's American Mathematics Competition featured participation of 17 students. I'm delighted to announce and present the awards to our top 2 achievers. Congratulations to our school's second place performer, Kevin Bruce. Will you come on up? Congratulations to our school's first place performer, Spencer Zhang. Come on up. Spencer has earned 2 additional honors of distinction. He has been awarded the Certificate of Achievement, recognizing students in grades 6 and below who achieved a score exceeding 15. He also earned the Honor Roll Certificate for scoring in the top 5% nationally.
Oh, goodness.
Congratulations to both Kevin and Spencer. We look forward to hearing about your future accomplishments and successes in mathematics.
All right.
Stay standing where you take some pictures.
For being in grade 6 or below. And this one's your honor roll for in the top 5%.
Sorry, Kathan's going to do, I think we're okay.
Are we at risk here?
Because it's not a large group. Keep moving. It's sort of a thing.
Yeah, natural.
It's a thing.
And next, our Tiger Team Members of the Month for February. These CHUH staff have been recognized by their peers and members of the community for going above and beyond to contribute to the culture of excellence in our district. Your colleagues who nominated you for this recognition have shared these heartfelt words about you. From the Board of Education, the entire payroll team, who is Carmen Jefferson, Angela Kennedy, Arlene Mohammadpour, and Lindsay Smith. Are any of them here? Come on up. Yes. Representing. The district payroll team does whatever it takes to make sure everyone in the district is paid every 2 weeks, along with all of the other things, taxes, deductions, retirement, benefits that come along with that. In December, they worked on the snow day, they worked over the weekend amid network issues, and they worked over winter break. They never have to be asked, they know what needs to be done. From Boulevard Elementary School, Laura Eaton. Lauren is one of Boulevard's outstanding and much respected first grade teachers who brings much enthusiasm for learning into her classroom. Lauren is truly focused on creating lessons that highly engage students and quality learning. Student behavior is always in control. She is approachable with genuine kindness and respect for both students and staff. From Canterbury Elementary School, Jason Franklin. Jason goes above and beyond. Since I've been at Canterbury, I have observed that he is always looking to improve his building. From the Delisle Option Center, Paul Gustafson. Mr. Gustafson is a vital member of the Tiger Virtual Academy and Delisle Center staff. He is the ultimate team player, always willing to assist with any project, class, or situation. He works well with students at any grade level. He is creative and skilled with technology. And as a parent of Heights graduates and member of the Heights community, he is a true supporter of Tiger Nation. From Fairfax Elementary School, Cynthia Foster. Cynthia Foster, is she here? Ms. Foster is an amazing paraprofessional that goes above and beyond for all students. From her efficiency in the cafeteria in the mornings, to building meaningful relationships with students, to collaborating with other educators to best meet the students' needs, to sharing positive words of wisdom, to her calm demeanor, she is a key asset to the building. From Garrity Professional Development School, Karen Golenberg. Karen is such a great reading teacher and always puts her students first. She has implemented the Wonders plus 95% curriculum with intention. She is an oracle of knowledge at our weekly TBTs. She created a goal-setting model for words per minute that other grade levels at Garrity have implemented. I couldn't ask for a better teammate. From Heights High School, Jim Miller. Jim Miller. Jim organized a trip for AP Biology and AP Environmental Science students. He organized everything to make the experience seamless for students and parents. Jim ensured students would have surprises and treats along the way in Belize. His dedication to his students and his passion for science are inspiring. From Monticello Middle School, Janice Andres. Ms. Andres is always encouraging students to be their best selves. She is a great advocate for PBIS and shows great leadership throughout the building. She runs the clock at all of Monticello's home games. She also teaches students about journalism as well as poetry after school, and her students love her so much. Ms. Andres is an irreplaceable part of our Monticello family. From Noble Elementary School, Patrick Carpenter. Patrick is a positive leader for staff and students. He shares his passion, vision, compassion, and humor each day. He is there for his students and their families, as well as the staff, both professionally and personally. He believes. We are so happy you are our instructional leader. From Oxford Elementary School, Andrew Kaczynski. Coach K is a dedicated, hardworking, and organized individual with activities he prepares for the students. Some students are not comfortable with certain gym activities, and Coach K is creative with redesigning ways for them to participate and have fun. He inspires students to love the challenge of competition and to be team players. I love his energy, focus, leadership, patience, and teaching ability. From Rocks Elementary School, Charles Smith. Mr. Smith is the Roxelle head custodian and does everything possible for our staff and students to have a great school day. His commitment to creating a clean and safe space for the students doesn't go unnoticed. He has gone above and beyond to make sure that our school sparkles and is a welcoming, healthy space for everyone. His favorite expression is, "I got you," and he really does. And from Roxborough Middle School, Katie Spilker. I have never experienced working with such a wonderful co-teacher as Katie Spilker. If anyone enters our classroom, it would be impossible to tell who is the general education teacher and who is the intervention specialist. It is wonderful to be able to work with someone who appreciates differing points of view, is creative, and willing to help in any way. So let's celebrate our Tiger Team Members of the Month as they walk to the front.
Instead of hiding by the wall.
That concludes our recognitions for this evening, and I'd like to welcome up our wonderful members of the superintendent's cadre, Sheridan Sweeney and Alexis Walton.
Good evening, Board of Education members, Superintendent Kirby, and Mr. Gaynor. My name is Sheridan, and I'm a junior at Heights High. My name is Alexis, and I'm a junior at Heights High. As a member of the Superintendent's cadre, we are here to give a brief report about what's happening at Heights High. We are honored to be here this evening. Thank you for the opportunity. First, we would like to tell you about our athletic teams and provide an update about several upcoming events at Heights High. The winter season is over, and spring is just starting. Boys basketball ended their season in double overtime last Saturday against Canton McKinley. The team took third place in the GCC this year. Boys wrestling, senior Aiden Carles advanced to the district tournament in Perrysburg last weekend. He's one step away from state.
Nice.
In girls wrestling, sophomore Chelsea Gibson advanced to the regional tournament in Menor last week, also one step away from state.
Wow.
In indoor track, the boys indoor track won the state championship last week at Spire. The 4x200 meters, Henry Paramond, Michael Middleton, Aiden West, and Marquise Davis won. Javier Kerr replaced Harry Paramond, who was injured. In the 4x4, again, it was Harry Paramond, Marquise Davis, Javier Kerr, and Michael Middleton. Harry Paramond, still injured, was replaced by Aiden West. Michael Middleton won first place in the 400-meter dash. Javier Kerr, third place in the 400-meter dash. The 4x200-meter relay team won second place. The 4x4 relay team won first place. This secured the state championship title. Javier Kerr won second in triple jump, and the girls 4x4 ran an amazing race. Coming up this spring, Heights High will have teams in baseball, softball, boys and girls lacrosse, boys and girls track, boys volleyball, boys tennis, and girls flag football. Here are a few important events that are happening at Heights High. In February, students were rewarded by the PBS team for having no ISS or OSS in January and having 90% or higher attendance in February, with a class-wide student versus staff basketball game on January 2nd and a cohort dodgeball tournament on February 29th. Congratulations to the staff and 2026 cohort for winning their respective events. At their district-level competition on January 25th, 8 Heights High School's DECA members competed to qualify for the state competition in Columbus this March. The students will have the opportunity to move on to the National DECA Conference that will take place in April. Miani Alston Bay, Damaya Blade, Ahava Ellis, Ashneth King, London Mitchell, and Amari Chandler will compete this weekend in Columbus. Students in the Heights High Career Tech Consortium have a win-win opportunity this summer to intern in their chosen field, learning the ropes of a job while also receiving a stipend from Youth Opportunities Unlimited, and earning 150 work-based learning hours towards their graduation requirement. This unique opportunity pairs students with local businesses and agencies willing to prepare the next generation of employees, serving as mentors while benefiting from 6 weeks of labor by committed students. The program runs from June 17th to July 27th, with rising juniors and seniors working 25 hours per week. The beginning of March, it was coming up in April. The VMD held their midwinter concert on March 1st. The concert featured a variety of genres from the ensembles, ranging from black spirituals to pop pieces. Attendees will also get a sneak peek of the a cappella choir and barbershop groups' repertoires for the District OMEA contest on March 15th. The Heights High Swim Cadets invite the community to live the teenage dream at their 85th annual show. The 3-night performance will run from March 7th through 9th at 7 p.m. in the high school auditorium. Tickets can be purchased in advance by a swim cadet for $12 with a limited number of tickets sold at the door. Heights High Parent-Teacher Conference will take place on Tuesday, March 12th from 2 to 8 p.m. Heights High will follow the early release bell schedule on Tuesday, March 12th for parent-teacher conferences. School will be over at 1:26 p.m. Parents and guardians can find more information to sign up for time slots on chuh.org or the email sent by Dr. Towns on March 6th. High Tide's second annual Science Symposium will take place on Wednesday, March 20th. This will be a showcase to explore the wonders of science through experiments, demonstrations, and interactive activities. The showcase will take place from 4 to 6 p.m. at High Tide, and refreshments will be provided. Awards will be presented to the top 3 in each science discipline. The High Tide School DECA members will partner with the American Red Cross to host their second community blood drive for the year on Tuesday, April 9th, 2024. To sign up for an appointment to donate, please visit Red Cross Blood Drive or redcrossblood.org. Students who want to donate must see Mrs. Parker or the school nurse for permission slips.
Next, I would like to talk about what Heights means to the community. Even after graduates leave the school, they are still part of our community. From athletic alumni who come back and help coach or practice with their team to people who say hi when they see you wearing Heights merch, the school provides a connection. Everyone I meet who ever went to Heights always wants to know about the school, the recent renovation, any news, or simply my experience there. It's wonderful to be able to talk to somebody who went to the same school I do and reminisce with them about their time there.
Now I will speak on my experience at High Tide. In the 3 years I have been at High Tide, I really enjoyed it. Heights has done more than enough to prepare me for college with the rigorous classes I've been offered, as well as SAT and ACT prep. Heights offers an amazing support system to students that is not usually seen at schools. There is never a dull moment at Heights High. Between the different clubs, fun PBIS events, and sports games, Heights High has something for everyone. In my opinion, Heights High is living up to their reputation of being a diverse, inclusive, fun school. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, that's it. The next item on our agenda is statements from the audience, and no one signed up tonight, so there will be no statements from the audience. So next thing on the agenda is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to consider the consent agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion about the consent agenda?
There's some great, some field trips that were mentioned here. We've got the trip to Columbus from the wrestling team, the DECA trip to Anaheim. I may have mentioned it once before that one of my very best friends since second grade at Coventry, DECA changed his life. His involvement in that program helped to really shape him into an incredibly successful and civically engaged businessman today. So I always celebrate the DECA program. And I have to say, I'm really happy that Monticello has chosen to go to DC in the spring. Having done the 8th grade DC trip both in the fall and in the spring, it's better in the spring.
It is. The cherry blossoms are
Just
better in
gonna
the
say,
spring.
Are they going to get the cherry blossoms? Yeah.
Well, and also, I just found as a teacher, I knew my kids so much better in the
Oh,
spring.
yeah.
Right.
And you've spent the whole year building the relationships that it's the relationships that make the trip so much more meaningful.
Yeah.
So that's all great stuff.
I'm really glad to see that Monticello's getting the trip. And I noticed we have some retirements. I just want to thank people for their service to our district, particularly Mr. Provenzal. He has been a longtime gifted intervention specialist and has done a ton of work with kids over the years for Model UN and for Science Olympiad, and I would just like to acknowledge him. I'm sure the other people retiring have illustrious careers as well. I just don't happen to know them, so I can't speak to their specific accomplishments.
At the other end of the spectrum, I'm very excited to see that the son of one of our teachers has just been hired as a paraprofessional. I love the multi-generational connection we have in the district and that our grads come back and work for us. Every time I see a name I know, it's like, you're a grown-up? Yes. And furthermore, he's working for the district, so it's wonderful.
That's awesome. Any other comments? Then, Mr. Gaynor, will you call the roll?
Mr. Hines.
Yes.
Ms. Lewis.
Yes.
Ms. Serini.
Yes.
Mr. Trimble.
Yes.
Ms. Crenshaw.
Yes.
And the next item on our agenda is moving down is in the finance area. And we have a couple of complaints against real property. Mr. Gaynor, do you want to speak to that a little bit? Explain what those are? And then we have to consider these, there's three, and we have to consider them separately.
Correct. So, this gets memorialized in the three things, so I'll hit it again there, quickly. But this is one of the things we've talked about, particularly around House Bill 126, where it used to be that you, as a board, authorize me to deal with tax complaints and filing. So we would work with our legal counsel. They would do a cost-benefit analysis. If they saw something that they thought we should either file a complaint, or if there was a decreased complaint by a commercial taxpayer, we might file a counter-complaint. The legislature's decided, in my opinion, to try to just make things a little more difficult in terms of protecting our tax base, that there is a process now where we have to give notice to that taxpayer. The taxpayer has an opportunity to come to the Board of Education meeting where you all will consider and then have to vote on these decreased complaints. So this process only happens if we're filing a complaint, we're filing an initial complaint. If there's a counter complaint, if there's a decrease that they file and we file, there's some restrictions that we'll talk about later, but your approval isn't needed for that process. But for this one, this is something new, first time that you will have seen this.
If the landowner decides to come speak to the board, is that something that's done in executive session as it pertains to legal action, or is that something that's done in open session? And would that be tonight when we're considering the resolutions?
Yeah, that would be an open session, and that would be tonight, would be the opportunity, but obviously they could come in terms of public participation and speak to you at any time about that if they chose to. Or they could, send something in writing. Again, this is more of the initial process. We've seen an arm's length, what we believe to be an arm's length transaction or sale of the property that's sufficient for us to file a complaint. And then it will go through the process, and we may or may not prevail, but at least this way we can become party to that.
So using the first one of these three as an example, this property changed hands. It was bought for a much larger price than the county had previously valued it. Therefore, our complaint is saying, well, if it's worth this much more, then you ought to be paying more real estate taxes on the new value, right?
Correct.
Because that is in the best interests of the district and our students, is to be getting the real estate taxes due on that new higher value.
Absolutely.
Does the inverse also happen? Say, the county came and reassessed my house, and I decided to file with the Board of Revision saying, no, my house is not worth what you say it's worth less. For example, I don't want to pay this much taxes, I want to pay a lesser amount of taxes. Does the school district intervene in that case?
We do, and the process is different, and the threshold is different for us to do that, and that doesn't require board approval. And also I'll clarify, for residential, we do not get involved in that process.
Okay.
So it's only commercial properties that we deal with.
Okay, so these are large buildings, they're apartment buildings, or they're commercial spaces, and we're talking many zeros, as opposed to my house or your house?
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make that clear, because the legislature changed the rules recently, and now we have to figure out how to play the game under these new rules.
Yes, and there are timing restrictions as well, so that's, one of the things that has to be thought through in terms of the way the whole process works, so.
Okay, thank you.
And there's a difference also, it's just worth reminding everybody at times like now, that there's a difference between assessed value and tax value.
Yes, the 35% rule.
Right.
Correct, yes.
Okay,
It's a significant difference.
Correct.
okay.
But yeah, as an example, the 2461 Noble Road is an apartment building, large brick, looks like 3 or 4 story apartment building.
Yeah.
Okay, so do I have a motion to consider the filing of complaint against real property permanent parcel number 682-11038?
I, so move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion on this particular property of We Capital?
That's the one I just referenced.
Okay.
Right.
Mr. Gaynor, will you call the roll?
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Ms. Serini,
Yes.
Mr. Trimble,
Yes.
Ms. Crenshaw,
Yes.
Mr. Hines.
Yes.
Okay, do I have a motion to consider the filing of complaint against real property parcel number 685-10066?
So moved?
Second.
Any discussion on this one? High top. Okay, Mr. Gaynor, will you call the roll?
Ms. Serini,
Yes.
Mr. Trimble,
Yes.
Ms. Crenshaw,
Yes.
Mr. Hines,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis.
Yes.
Do I have a motion to consider the filing of complaint against real property parcel number 685-04003, Fairmount Portfolio?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on this one? Mr. Gaynor, will you call the roll?
Mr. Trimble,
Yes.
Ms. Crenshaw,
Yes.
Mr. Hines,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Ms. Serini.
Yes. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Taylor Tudor, it's a resolution approving a real property tax exemption under the revised code, and it's a development of certain property in Cleveland Heights, and this is the compensation agreement. So I don't know if Mr. Anderson wants to come up. Did you want to speak on this, or Mr. Seed, did you want to come up? Anybody want to come and talk on this?
Anyone?
I'm certainly happy to answer any questions the board may have. I know, David has been briefing you guys on this agreement. It's almost, I think, 2 years ago now, the first time we came to this body to sort of talk about this activity and this developer, WXE Development. And we're obviously very excited about this opportunity. Hopefully, it's the first of what could be several pretty large investments along Taylor Road. So certainly, we, are hopeful to get the board support for this project and allow that long vacant building to be able to move forward with renovation. Thank you.
So do I have a motion to consider the Taylor Tudor compensation agreement?
I move we consider the Taylor Tudor compensation agreement.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I have discussion. So this marks the first time I've had a hard time coming to terms with a vote in my short time on the board, and so much of it I think it stems from the school levy lens, which is how I look at a lot of things that have a dollar sign in front of them, and implications for our ability to pass future levies. And what I heard as a volunteer working on levy campaigns, particularly the previous two levy campaigns, and I've stood on a lot of front porches and on a lot of street corners and in a lot of public places with folks talking about the levies. And the number one comment that I would hear is, my property taxes, my property taxes. What about seniors on a fixed income living in the home that they own, et cetera, et cetera. So that's sort of like I see this as, well, we're not getting anything right now. This would be money coming in, albeit a really, small amount relative to our total budget. So this is not, a long lost relative dying and leaving you, giant sums of money. This is a fraction of a percent of our budget, prospectively. The next thing I was kind of like in my own mental test for this is, how does this affect students and families of the district? And I talked to a number of community members who I was hoping I could get to really convince me to vote for this. And every response that I got really sounded like, well, the good stuff's going to trickle down to the kids eventually. If a lot of ifs. Well, if this happens, and if that happens, and if it's a big success, and then if someone else buys this other part of the street, et cetera, it's going to make things better. And it sounds a lot like economic development, which I don't see personally as our role as city economic development. And I've had a harder time hearing the good that it's going to do for the kids. I mean, down to like, who's going to be potentially living there? And it's a lot of, single bedroom, it's not going to be families that are, going to elementary school. So that I'm still personally struggling with the concept of TIFs. So maybe, partially removing this project as a specific, but just the concept of us approving, accepting less money, which will then, the money's going to come from somewhere. It's either going to come from voters in a future levy, the money's got to come from somewhere. So yeah, that's what's kicking around in my head today and yesterday, and that's my internal struggle with this.
Does anybody else want to comment, or I can put in my, kind of where I see this? And Phil, I totally understand. I mean, the first TIF that we voted on, we being Malia, Dan, and I, when we were elected, was top of the hill. And it was a challenge for me to understand why the district would have to give up money, potential revenue, in order to get a project done. But it's very common, particularly in older cities and older places that aren't growing the way, a city may be in the South. So therefore, to get a project done, often we do have to consider doing some kind of compensation agreement in order to make that happen. This is kind of a unique one in that the city owns these buildings, and while the city's owning them, we don't get anything. So the thought that somebody is going to develop it, the city's going to transfer the property over to a developer, the developer's going to own it, and suddenly we'll at least be getting something for it, to me is more attractive than having empty buildings that are frankly just declining if they're not in use. It's kind of like the same thing when we did Top of the Hill. It was a parking lot. We were getting something like $24,000 a year, and by doing Top of the Hill, we could get close to $500,000 a year out of that property. So for me, this one is, while it's maybe not as big of a project, so therefore the revenue isn't as much as a Top of the Hill, to me, it's better than having buildings that are decrepit and crumbling and are certainly not going to improve the surrounding area. So this one, to me, I'm a lot less conflicted on, because when I drive past those buildings and I see they're empty, there's nothing going on, even the businesses that used to be on the first floor are gone, empty buildings don't help a neighborhood. So that's where I come down on this one.
Yeah. The one other thing that I'd say that also kicked into my head that I've been thinking about is the length of the duration of time. That 30 years is a tremendous amount of time. So my daughter's a sixth grader, and if this goes into effect today, which it won't, if we started to collect monies today, my daughter will be older than me when this expires, which is that's 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. So that's just another component of it for me.
Any other discussion?
So first of all, I share a lot of your ambivalence around topics like this. I'm supporting the project for a different set of reasons. I remember when recently my friend Councilman Anthony Maddox from Cleveland Heights was speaking at a council meeting, and he pointed out that the poorest neighborhood in Cleveland Heights is actually the streets in between Heights High and Taylor Road. And when I think of this, and I've actually driven around this building and in this area with great intention over the past few months because I just want to get a feel for it. My real ambivalence about this project as it relates to parking, which just does not exist and I think is a very nearly a fatal flaw for the success of this project. But you know, I've driven around quite a bit. And as I drove around thinking about this project, I saw a neighborhood that deserves something shiny and new. They need an expression of faith. And the building is getting us nothing now. And if we have a developer who is willing to put a new roof on it and invest some money in it, that to me, honestly, is a very worthwhile piece because otherwise this building is in really rough shape and it's going to be a harder and harder sell every year. Phase 2 and Phase 3 are like, you know, the sequels in a fantasy novel. And it'd be great if they come true. I hope they do. But I'm doing this just as a way of helping a neighborhood and a community that I just think deserves us leaning in and showing a little faith in them and helping them on their path to a better day.
So as you all know, I wear multiple hats, and when I'm being a landlord, I look at that building and I go tear it down. Because the amount of work it needs is sort of unfathomable. But I only take on projects I can do by myself, so I would never touch this one, right?
A lot of Home Depot trips.
And a couple back surgeries.
Yeah, right, and then there's that. But when I'm wearing my school board hat, what I see for us is basically new revenue that's approximately another teacher. And I've always sort of do things in multiples of teachers, right? And it's a round number, it's easy, I don't have to think too hard. So this gets us a teacher where we didn't have one before, and someone else has to deal with the asbestos, not me, so that's fine, you know, as far as I'm concerned. And that's no skin off my back. I'd rather get something for the school district and for the students than nothing.
And I would like to acknowledge that from what we have experienced on this one, that there was a little more back and forth with the city and cooperation and working together as partners. And I think that that is a good path forward. And I'm excited to see that continue in future agreements that we work on together.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So if there's no other comments, I'm going to ask Mr. Gaynor to take the roll. Mr. Gaynor, you ready?
I'm ready.
Go ahead and call the roll.
All right, Ms. Crenshaw,
Yes.
Mr. Hines,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Ms. Serini,
Yes.
Mr. Trimble.
No.
Resolution passes. And now for the superintendent's report.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to ask Kathan Kavanaugh to drive. Right. So this month we are going to start with again celebrating our boys indoor track state championship. And again, here's just a great picture to celebrate our winners. And the superintendent's cadre students did share some of these events. And I'll just focus on the results piece again. Michael Middleton, first place in the 400-meter dash, and I believe second in the country. In
Right
that.
here, that's amazing.
Javier Kerr, third place in the 400-meter dash. 4x200-meter relay team, second place. 4x400-meter relay team, first place. That helped them secure this state championship title. Javier Kerr, second in the triple jump. And then our girls 4x400 also ran an outstanding race. And so we've had wonderful success and growth of all of our winter athletes, and just want to celebrate them again for that wonderful achievement. My understanding is this is our first state championship since 2008. Is that correct in any sport?
Any sport.
So that is a huge accomplishment. So on to goals 1 and 2. In terms of preschool enrollment, right now our early childhood program is seeking students for the general education classrooms and peers for special education classrooms for 24-25. I will tell you that we are already full, so at this point we're accepting wait lists. Preschool is very popular, and I have been talking with the team about, some of this was referenced in the previous meeting, just in terms of how we want to think about other models to help to try to expand our offerings. Knowing there's a big demand, but it's also unfunded, unfortunately, by the state.
Out of curiosity, what's the size of the wait list?
I'll have to get back
Yeah.
to you, and I don't want to say the wrong number.
Yeah.
But it's very popular. Yeah.
I know.
Do you know
To the
what our
point where people
capacity
wait
is?
to when it opens
Right.
and, apply right away.
Do you know what our capacity is for preschool? How many
I don't know the
students we
number off the top of my head. Yeah.
We sometimes get questions about, well, why don't you just open another room? Why don't you have another preschool classroom? And it's not that simple, because you need, a preschool classroom is not just desks and a teacher desk. It is bathrooms with little toilets. It is everything micro-sized. And
And
so.
a teacher.
Yes, and a teacher,
professional, yeah.
which is not easy to find. And so, I think we would all love, because it's also some of the best work we do in this district. But finding the room, converting the room, and then you're investing money into that room, and you're basically betting on the fact that you're going to have need for that room in the future. So it's a gamble, and it's an expensive gamble.
I think we should also start to look at our preschool enrollment in terms of, or at least evaluating families who progress through our district, who are actually enrolling into kindergarten, or if they have siblings in the district, or, what the connection is to the district, to ensure that families are fully invested
Yeah.
in the district.
And we are getting that data to share with board members, so we can see what is that rate of families that attend preschool that stay in the district.
That's an interesting question. Thank you. I had never thought of that before. But are we allowed to prioritize
Or rank.
a student who is a sibling of someone else in the district for a spot in preschool over a student who's not, or over a student who does not have an older sibling in the district?
You guys are asking me excellent questions, and Karen Liddell Anderson is presenting in Columbus because she is the expert and would have all these answers. But what I'll have her do is to kind of address both of those questions at our next board meeting. I don't think so, but I don't want to misspeak. So, in terms of the ranking and all those pieces.
Or is it just like a lottery, or whoever submits their application first, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're gonna do a little pre-K part.
Pre-K part.
in
I'll talk
April.
pre-K all
And
day.
the
I
April
love
meeting,
that
yeah.
program.
Yeah, I mean, from the sound of it, we need to have like pre-K signing day. I mean, it's like very competitive.
That would be
It is,
excellent.
there is
That
a
would be
lot of,
such a cool
there
thing.
is a lot of interest, and it's, I mean, if we had funding, we would open up, we would have a, pre-K piece.
We might
And
need a
so
work
we-
session on
We've been
pre-K.
we might need one. We actually, because I know that Aaron and the team have been working with the ESC and just some other directors on, I mean, we actually have a challenge in that we have to have enough, for students that have disabilities, they have to have placements where they are with their gen ed peers. And so we're going to have to make some adjustments to find some partnerships in order to make sure that we align with that. So we probably not this year, but maybe next year, a work session, because we're looking at maybe, for example, in Lorraine, they are exploring having a consortium, kind of like the CTPD, but have it around early childhood. So maybe that's, because our challenge is, we're not the only one having that challenge. Maybe we could go in with some other districts and think about doing something, to open up more spaces for everyone.
Now, there are two bills that were just presented recently in Columbus. One involves allowing districts to, I'm doing this from memory, I'm sorry, to provide services remotely online for special ed. And the other one, I think, was for preschool. And I'm trying to remember, this was in some long email about all the legal stuff, and I don't know whether this is pertinent to preschool or not. I'm going to have to go double check this, because there's some jockeying going on down there about providing virtual services from paraprofessionals and OTs and PTs and people like that.
Probably due to the need and the lack of
That there's a,
providers. I wouldn't be
Sure.
surprised, yeah.
but I'm wondering if that's going to spill over into preschool. Now, I'm going to make a note and figure this one out. Okay.
So we definitely in April, so we'll come back with a preschool update, and I do think we should do a work session in the fall. In terms of our district leadership team, we do meet monthly. This past month, we specifically looked at the winter benchmark performance and had teams both look at each other's work, provide feedback and suggestions as they continue to prepare for state testing. Also, our Director of College and Career Readiness shared his work and strategy around supporting both college and career enrollment success with the focus around the PACE framework. As relates to also goals 1 and 2, we are in the season of our kindergarten information nights, and so there you will see information on when they are held at our buildings,
The first one was yesterday, right?
running from
great.
6 to 7 p.m. at Roxborough Elementary School. So certainly, I know board members do attend and are, we remain, excited to invite members of the community, prospective families, to come to these information nights. We also will be having on-site registration as well for families.
That's excellent.
The Roxborough was paired with another event, the multicultural event, and really gave potential kindergarten families the opportunity to see the building while it was buzzing with other students.
That's
So,
great.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I really like the way that they do that too as well, because you get a sense of what it's like to be a student there.
Yeah, and I was there as well, and I saw multiple new and prospective parents talking to current parents, which is like amazing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's you can look at the printed literature or read reviews online, but when you're asking the questions and all of that, I mean, it's just so valuable, and the parents you could tell were happy to be talking to someone who they were in the shoes of a couple years ago. So very cool.
All right, I'm going to move on to the other end of the spectrum and talk about post-secondary. So
There we go. We went from
in
pre-K
February, we had several events related to our goals around college and career. So on the 21st, there was a post-secondary success night where there were workshops around FAFSA, college scholarship and applications, resume writing, job and career opportunities as well. We also held a night for those families interested in the Tri-C Associate Degree Program on February 22nd as well, to introduce families to that opportunity,
That was very well attended this year.
which is great.
Yeah, because word has gotten out,
Yeah.
which is terrific.
Also, February was Career CTE Month, and so we did our induction into the National Tech Honor Society at Warrensville. 46 students were inducted, and we also have, at Warrensville, they run the culinary program for the CTPD, and so DJ Johnson was a featured chef. And so when they have the featured chefs, you can order food, you can go to the Warrensville new facility where they have the kitchen and the place where they serve the food, the cafeteria as well. So I think he had 2 weeks where he was the featured chef in February.
I saw the menu online. It looked good.
Yeah. And it gets full fast, so you
Yeah.
have to order quickly. We also met with CTE teachers towards the end of the month, specifically looking at enrollment and marketing as we get ready to complete the programming for this year. So it was a really good meeting. The teachers collectively decided to give a survey to current students and also 9th and 10th graders, just so that they could get a little bit more information about both students' experiences, but also what students are interested in. So we will be sending that out within the next week or so. I also plan in April to do a further update on CTE to the board. So we're not going to do a work session, but I still want you to know where we are in terms of enrollments and the programs and all of that. So that will also be in April. And it seems like it was a long time ago, but we had our State of the Schools on Wednesday, February 7th. So that was definitely a success, and it was wonderful having the students help share the achievements of the district there. We are super excited about our celebration of Black and Gold excellence that was held at Heights High School, where there were student entrepreneurs, authors, music, businesses, food, and more. And people are so excited. They have already started to plan for next year, which is great.
Awesome.
I had a great time traveling to Columbus with 33 middle school and high school students to attend the annual Ohio Association of Student Leaders Conference. And you see there at the bottom a picture of our group. It was a wonderful time. And what was great about it, not only were, middle school and high school students in fellowship and, the bus and the food, the pizza, all that stuff. But what I really liked was that they did it election for the state board. And so the students were able to hear the speeches of those who were running, caucus, and pick the leader of the state Ohio Association of Student Leaders leadership. So it was very, and let me tell you, as soon as as the schools were coming in, those who were running were politicking and lobbying and passing out stickers and talking about their experiences. And it was really great, especially for our middle school kids, because I really hope that they will get active in the state conference, in state leadership as well. It's like many things during COVID, they kind of lost some of the enthusiasm, but they're starting to grow it again. And I just feel like Cleveland Heights, if it's leadership, we need to be there. So we're going to be there. So it was really great. Lots of fun. And then, of course, the Cavs Foundation night was this past Tuesday. And you'll see there, that is not the bobblehead that people received, but that is a bobblehead that is on the way for some special people, I think, or some folks.
Dan's got an exhibit here.
There we have.
So that is one that folks received at the game. So it was a great showcase for the foundation, the alums, the district, the families, the community. It really was awesome to see all that black and gold. And I just have to give both Laura and Susan Carver, the president of the foundation, kudos for lots of coordination and collaboration. Good time. It was a good time, and we won by 1 point.
Yes. Yes.
So again, just some things that are coming up. We are heading into spring break. We have the cadet show. It's Women's Month as well. I can't believe it's daylight savings time coming up. Parent conferences. Our work session on the 19th is going to be on facilities, and then we have a professional learning day right before spring break as well. We also want to show and share a spotlight. So one of the things we're really focused on is to really share the work around PBIS in the district. So Caitlin and her team has worked with our PBS leadership here to present a spotlight just to give you insight into what this work continues to look like in the district.
PBIS, Positive Behavioral Interventions and Supports, is an evidence-based tiered framework to support students' behavior and academic success. It increases student engagement and increases instructional time. It also decreases office discipline referrals. Our goal for PBIS is to teach students appropriate behavior and give support to decrease problem behaviors, increase safety, and improve the climate and culture of every Cleveland Heights University Heights building. Sustained implementation of PBIS has a positive impact on students, teachers, and all staff.
P, personal best. P, personal best. A, acts responsibly. A, acts responsibly. W, works and plays safely. W, works and plays safely. S, shows respect. S, shows respect. Who can tell me what P, personal best is?
Here at Garrity, we're really excited to have implemented our PBIS program. Over the last 2 years, we've seen a significant reduction in the number of behavior incidents because we spent a lot of time helping our students understand how to be successful.
We have reduced our number of referrals, infractions.
The kids helped me come up with things that they wanted to earn in the classroom. And so then I put this chart together, and this it shows how many points they have to earn those things. So like taking a break, gift cards, teacher helper.
We see these lovely items over here. These are rewards for the Tiger store.
60 points, so you're in this second column. So you can choose something here or here. Or here.
Math and reading, too.
Thank you. Okay, so that concludes the report aligned to the goals. Next, can I go to?
Yeah,
Do you have questions?
I was just going to, no questions. I was just going to tell you a comment that I was at the Cleveland Heights City Council meeting on Monday, and they mentioned the black and gold celebration, and I guess there was some conflict with the event they had going on.
It was the same day, same time.
Yeah, I heard that they would like to partner with us next year and do something jointly instead of separate events. So I just, if you hadn't heard that, I wanted to let you know.
Yeah, they reached out actually, so.
Good,
That's
excellent.
That's great. All right, any other questions on the report? I'm sorry, before we move to math adoption.
I just want to point out, related to the indoor state championship, that the one person we didn't mention is that this is Joe D'Amato's first state championship as our athletic director. And, you know, Joe works so much, and he's got, I think, an entire hotel's worth of little kids running around the house these days. So it's just nice to recognize him and how lucky we are to have Joe in the district. Working with our kids, they benefit by his presence in their lives, and clearly all his hard work is really paying off for us. So.
And I hope we're going to invite those champions to a board meeting to honor them.
I do plan on doing that.
Yes.
Excellent, excellent.
And our math kids, our third grade math scholars.
Yes.
We can't forget to have that, because that'd be a great board meeting to recognize all those kids. Yeah.
Before you go on to math curriculum, I think we need to do the resolution authorizing the required third grade testing.
Yes, thank you for reminding me of that. So as the previous board members remember, we do every year ask our teachers if they want for the OST to be paper pencil or computerized. So we did the vote again. And as in previous years, the teachers have asked for a paper pencil administration for OST, ELA, and a computer-based administration for third grade math. So we use that to make the recommendation to the board, and that's what the resolution is. It's something you have to vote on because we have to send it into the state.
Do we ever ask the third graders or the fourth, once they become fourth graders, which one they prefer? Or?
We have never done that. But that would be good to actually ask the fourth graders.
Yeah, who have experienced
both of those. Yeah, we've never done that.
So do I have a motion to consider the resolution authorizing required third grade testing?
So motioned.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I like the idea of polling the fourth graders retroactively. Because in fourth grade, there's no choice.
Right.
It's all online for all of the tests.
I would be curious to see if there's a breakdown of performance, if there's any data out there
In terms of
of paper.
Well, technically, what the state says is they make adjustments to how they score based on your administration of the test. So, from the state perspective, I don't really know what the state would say, but that's what they say in terms of how they kind of level out the different administration of it. But the teachers have just indicated that they feel that their kids they do better when, because they're still building those technology skills.
Well, yeah, I completely understand it,
Yeah.
because, you're, in addition to measuring their understanding of language arts, you're now testing them on their ability to navigate the Chromebook.
Right,
And their typing skills.
right.
Versus their penmanship.
And occasionally,
Some
there are
of us never
network
get the
problems.
penmanship
Yeah,
thing,
no,
but right?
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, occasionally there are network problems too.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we're doing mass testing like that, so,
Yep, can't say it never happens.
right. All right, any more discussion? Mr. Gaynor, will you call the roll?
Mr. Hines,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Ms. Serini,
Yes.
Mr. Trimble,
Yes.
Ms. Crenshaw.
Yes.
Okay, now the math curriculum adoption.
I will turn it over to Dr. Jenkins and Ms. Bukovac.
Excuse me. Okay, good evening, board members,
Good evening.
superintendent, district staff, and community members. I am Dr. Michael Jenkins, Director of Curriculum and Instruction, and this is Ms. Joyce Bukovac, the Mathematics Instructional Specialist. Tonight is the second of 3 opportunities to present to you the committee's recommendation for adoption of high-quality instructional materials for mathematics. And didn't we just say something about technology not working? Thank you. You'll hold it, okay. Before we begin answering the questions that were posed at the last meeting, we would like to remind you of the recommendations for the math adoption.
Are you doing it or am I doing it? You're doing it. Okay. Power again. How effective has the Into Math curriculum been in closing the achievement gap? So the question is stated from last month, and then here are our responses. During the relatively short pilot, external measures were looked at, but were not the sole focus. To address this question, we did look to Bridgeport Public Schools, a similar district, large urban, high minority school district. They did a kindergarten through Algebra 2 adoption last year. Worth mentioning is 53% of the students in grades 2 through 8 that were projected as limited in a beginning of the year assessment rose out of that category by the end of the year assessment.
Wow.
How effective has Waggle been in closing the achievement gap? Here we look to Blue Springs School District. It is a large suburban district in Missouri. They adopted Waggle for their kindergarten through grade 8 students. They have been using this program for several years now, and on their metric, they saw an 8.1 percentage point increase in math. How effective has Zurn been in closing the achievement gap? Zurn did a study with the District of Columbia Public Schools, a very large, high-minority school district. The study was done with students in grades kindergarten through 6 using the iReady fall and spring diagnostic assessments. Researchers found students who consistently used Zurn, 3 or more lessons a week, outscored matched peers by 7.5 scale score points on the spring iReady diagnostic. That is a gain of about 11 weeks of math and academics in 1 year. Zurn's impact was even greater for students identified as Black and or Latino, scoring 9.7 scale score points higher. That's about an additional 14 weeks of math. Students in special education who consistently use Zurn increased an average of 23.2 points higher on the assessment, more than double the growth of their matched peers.
So we're going to move on to another question that was posed last time. How is Into Math culturally responsive? So I would like to start with a working definition. Culturally responsive teaching is a bridge between home and school life. It's also affirming of students' history and culture, and it's also centering students' voices and learning styles in all lessons and classroom experiences. Into Math provides a welcoming and affirming environment by valuing student voice and providing relevant experiences in what they're learning. Students see themselves in the math tasks. That's very important. Into Math has high expectations through rigorous tasks along with social emotional learning prompts. Into Math's Spark Your Learning tasks throughout the program provide culturally specific context to tap into existing student knowledge. Very important. There is a planning and pacing guide article on ensuring equity and access that highlights program supports that elevate practices for culturally relevant teaching. Professional learning references in this guide include relevant publications on equity and social and emotional learning to encourage teachers to make cultural considerations when planning and teaching. Teachers Corner provides ongoing teacher support via bite-sized articles, live sessions, and media on relevant topics. Another question we had, why would one curriculum over grades kindergarten through Algebra 2 make for a smoother transition? Using one curriculum for our kindergarten through Algebra 2 program will support students by reinforcing the coherence of learning math. Students will be able to build on prior knowledge of concepts, routines, strategies, and vocabulary from prior grades in a consistent and coherent manner. As you can see by the progressions chart broken down by strands, everything we learn in math, beginning in kindergarten, builds upon the previous year, all the way through high school. And this one was kind of an easy one. Is there one-time cost over the 7 years? And yes, this would be a one-time cost. And then our print materials would be shipped each year of our adoption with no additional cost. We also had the question of how many minutes are recommended for each online program. So the recommendation for Waggle is 15 to 30-minute lessons twice a week. For Zurn, the recommendation is 3 grade-level assignments a week, which are typically 30 minutes each. Kindergarten has shorter lessons, and therefore the recommendation is a total of 40 minutes a week. Students could be working on these lessons during no new instruction time or what I need time. We also call that win time. Or small group rotation stations. We've even seen some students logging in over the weekends. We like that.
How will each program help with differentiation? The Into Math differentiation provides support with grade level material that students are currently studying in class. Into Math provides formative assessments that can be used to determine next steps that could include teacher-led small group interventions. Within the Zern platform, students begin with current grade level topics. The program will differentiate based on student performance. Zern will provide just-in-time support for prior learning in the context of the current grade level learning. A sixth grader said, "I feel good because I really don't know math, but from me doing Zern, I can get to know it more, so I really like it." Waggle provides targeted support for prior unfinished learning. In Waggle, students will be placed right where they need the support based on their NWEA map data. We recommend that students do not waggle beyond grade level. Here is a graphic to visualize the three programs and how they relate to grade level content. Inspiration from Dr. Jenkins. Into Math is our recommended core Tier 1 resource, and it will dictate what mission students will work on in Zern. Zern will support the grade level work of Into Math and dip into prior grade level learning if and when needed. Waggle supports the work of Into Math by targeting unfinished learning from prior grades. What does a day with the program look like? A typical lesson will begin with a Spark Your Learning exercise. During these tasks, students use prior learning, manipulatives, or representations to begin the problem. Grade 6 Roxborough Middle School, Jen Hollander, shares that her students like that they get to share their strategy for solving, and they really like when they solve things differently than the class example. Next is the Learn Together. There are two parts to this section. First is the Build Understanding. These tasks are learning opportunities designed to help students understand the lesson concepts. Typically, teachers take a more active role, guiding discussions during whole class instruction. The second part is the Step It Out tasks that build upon students' conceptual understanding. Teachers help students understand how their learning can be applied to solve similar problems. Then, Check Understanding offers a quick, formative assessment to determine whether students have mastered lesson content and identifies which differentiation resources will be useful for each student. Next, the Differentiation section offers a variety of leveled resources and options. Small group. Teachers can use a flip chart to guide small group instruction, with the backside having some script and problems for them. And it's dry erasable. And this and other things can be seen over here, as well as we brought some manipulatives so you can touch. Okay. All right. That was, okay. That was small group. Independent practice. Students can continue to the on your own portion of the lesson. Math centers. Print and digital games, readers, and activities are available. Behind. Waggle and Zern, which as mentioned in previous slides, are our online adaptive support. Lastly, the wrap-up and homework section brings the class back together to summarize, use exit tickets, I Can self-assessments, or anchor charts, as well as practice and homework. Here is a kindergarten class engaged in a Spark Your Learning. Here's a student working on a Step It Out. These next pictures show students working in pairs during Learn Together. This student is working on independent practice. That last one right there is a student working on Waggle, and here we have a student working on Zern.
Next, we have a short video of our pilot teacher, Ms. Megan Erker and Dr. Kara Kirby, highlighting Into Math.
We love that you can start every single module with an Are You Ready? It's an automatic built-in pre-assessment that has kind of 3 different major skills that the kids are going to be working on in the lesson. And we love that we can just get a quick snapshot of where every one of our students is.
With Spark Your Learning, it's a great way for the students at the beginning of a lot of lessons or even modules for students to do hands-on, exploratory, like I'm going to just try to use different strategies to work this out before we even start the lesson.
And we can go through it with the students step by step to kind of model first the I do, then we do it together as a class, and then we can release them and have them work independently for the you do.
One of the features we really love is that built-in check your understanding. They also have exit tickets available for us to assess and formatively assess on the spot, are they learning?
From the teacher manual, we have all this differentiated instructional pieces for us, and they're all hyperlinked in. So we can do, in our small groups, a lot of times we just click on that, we do the reteach, and we have an automatic PDF that we can print off or have students work on just on a whiteboard, depending on how we want to run it, but it's automatically set up for us. Another a nice thing is the homework practice is there, but we also have the challenge piece for those students who are ready to go further, and we can have them work on that. Again, we can do it in a small group, or we can have it work with them working independently. It's also got Waggle connected to it.
Oh, we love Waggle!
Which is,
the kids love Waggle.
Kids love Waggle. It's really nice. It's like Adventum, but more fun.
So there's a lot of rigor to this. We at first were like, wow, this is really getting them to visualize and model, to really think about their learning and to apply strategies, not just teach them, oh, here's a strategy, memorize it. They have to really understand why the strategy works. But we liked Into Math. We're really happy that the district is considering picking it.
Soon they're going to want a little royalty or something every time we show that, I'm sure. So you might recall last month we mentioned ODE or DEW, Math High Quality Instructional Materials rubric that contains 6 areas of criteria. We asked piloting teams to respond to these categories when reviewing the programs, and here are a few of their thoughts regarding Into Math. The Kindergarten Canterbury team shared, the program is well thought out in terms of coherence. It is a deeper, not wider approach. The Grade 4 Boulevard team mentioned, we actually love the conceptual understanding aspect of Into Math and think it does a great job. The Grade 6 Roxborough Middle School team remarked, misconceptions are given and explained along with worked examples for Spark problems.
And our last question, are the recommendations for the upper level math courses an updated edition of the current materials? The chart here shows the previously adopted materials and the recommendations for adopted materials for the upper level courses. In 2 cases, AP Statistics and AP Calculus, we did go with the updated edition of that same textbook. They are the rows in the darker gold. Newest editions were not available for the remaining 3 courses. In 2 cases, we went with the same publisher. Our 2 statistics courses, Mathematical Decision-Making Probability Statistics and Modeling, mouthful, and AP Statistics, are both from publisher Bedford Freeman and Worth, with the same authors for both textbooks. And our Honors Pre-Calculus and AP Calculus are both from Savvis and are part of their AP Edition series.
We'd like to thank you for your time and attention to our presentation. We'd be glad to take any questions for us to address and respond to at the 3rd reading of this math recommendation.
Well, I just want to thank you for doing the research and answering the achievement gap question. I do have one question in regards to Waggle and Zern. Would all students use that, or for example, the young man, Spencer, would that be something he would use as well? Or are those programs kind of to catch students up? So I guess my concern is that will students be able start to like self-identify themselves in terms of what complementary curriculum they're using in terms of their math ability?
Meaning like how they see themselves as a learner?
Yes, exactly. Like
Okay.
how they
That's a
see
great question.
themselves, you know, how they see their peers. If their peers aren't using it, you know, so that they start to internalize their math ability based on, you know, the complementary option that they're using.
We love that question, and we will definitely get a response for you. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great question. I have to thank you both and the whole team who contributed to this. I think similar to what Gabe said, I'm really impressed with the comprehensive way you answered all of our questions from last time. I was not expecting that level of
behalf of the team, you're welcome.
I know. Yeah, definitely set the bar.
Nicely done. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
that.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, so the next thing on our agenda is the treasurer's report. Mr. Gaynor, you can cover your 3 things and anything else you want to cover with us.
See if we can get it to happen here.
There we go.
There we go.
It was there. I saw it.
It was there. All right, let's try this again. Okay, so we have the 3 things for today, March 7th, 2024. Again, the 3 things are an attempt by us to just try to get some easily understandable and digestible kinds of school finance and school funding things out there into the community and kind of build capacity and understanding. So this is aligned to Goal 5 of the strategic plan, objective number 3, to inform and educate all stakeholders regarding district finances and Ohio school funding. So the first one, again, is just pretty much memorializing the conversation we already had today about property tax complaints and the 3 things that you approved. So House Bill 126 is what caused that to those changes to happen. And so you see a little more detail here in terms of, for example, you see that the property, the requirements of the property having been sold, arm's length transaction, sale price has to exceed value by 10% or at least $500,000. So you know that each of those 3 that we brought to you today big jump. That's the reason that they were brought to you. And then the restriction in terms of, the notice to the property owners, which we did comply with. Also, the second major bullet there is just talking about if it's a counter complaint versus an original complaint, that the value differential is really only greater than $50,000 there. So smaller threshold there, and that does not require board approval. And, that again, you've authorized me through the organizational meeting and your legal counsel to do a cost-benefit analysis, which we do each time, to see if it's really worth the district's while to engage and participate in those counter complaints.
And this is only commercial real estate.
And it's only commercial real estate, again, not residential. Correct.
Do many districts go after residential?
I knew you were going to ask, because I was just thinking that. I'm like, I don't know of many districts that do that. It's one of those where, and there's been so much of that recently that I think a lot of districts really struggled with that because they wanted to, because so many people did it. But then that's one of those things where you really make your tax base angry, and then the next time
And
around,
then they
when you're
don't
asking for a
vote for
levy,
the
they're like,
next
no,
levy,
thank
right.
you, So it's a double-edged sword there, but so I think that's really why most districts focus on the commercial, and because of the high dollars that are at stake there in terms of protecting the tax base. The second item in the three things for this month is pilots. So this is related to the tax increment financing arrangement that you approved tonight. Just so we can memorialize here as well that there is a difference between an abatement and a TIF. And in abatement, the property taxes aren't paid at all. In a TIF, they're just diverted for other purposes. So, and in the case of what was approved tonight, some of those pilots are actually coming then back to the district, and some are going into the project for mostly, generally for infrastructure, remediation of asbestos, parking garages, those kinds of things, lighting, and all of that good stuff. So pilots, payment in lieu of tax. So we have that there, again, kind of relevant to what was being discussed and approved tonight. And the third item we have for this month is MD&A, which is the Management Discussion and Analysis. So we have hard copies for all of you of our annual comprehensive financial report today. And so part of this, if, it's a lot to read and a lot of detail, if you do get into looking at this, I would say that this is the part of it that you're going to want to really focus on, because it's more the high level analysis, not looking at each fund and all the detail that's required with the comprehensive report, but really just it's as the management discussion and analysis. It just talks about, and it has an introductory narrative, overview, and it has a kind of an overall analysis of the basic financials. And then we have the link here included to the electronic version of this document, so anyone can reach out and get that through the link, and it's on the district website. If anyone does want a hard copy out there, contact my office, and we do have hard copies available for folks to, and we were talking about this earlier, frankly, if you're looking at a document like this, I kind of prefer to look at it in a hard copy form, but I'm
easier to
I'm
scribble
old
notes.
and a little old school, so that's the way that works.
This is your Oprah moment, look under your seats.
Yes, you all have one. You get a actor. You get an actor. There we go.
If I may also just point out, because, it's a board meeting, an entire book detailing in incredible detail the budget that this district is entrusted with by our taxpayers. The private schools in Ohio, who are receiving $1 billion of the same taxpayers' money, have absolutely no similar obligation to the taxpayers of Ohio to provide a single ounce of information about how those taxes are being spent. I will say it quite bluntly. Taxpayers literally do not know if a single dollar of that $1 billion a year that our taxes are sending to vouchers is even being spent to educate those children. There's no financial accountability whatsoever. Thank you.
You're absolutely right.
You got that off your chest.
I concur, and I only say that, it is, and this document specifically is voluntary. So, again, this this is our district's attempt to even be more transparent than what is required by statute with a traditional basic financial statement. So we're trying to go above and beyond.
Which probably is one of the contributing factors to your winning the award year after year after year for the incredible work that you and your team do for our taxpayers.
I haven't had a chance to read it yet, obviously, since I just got it, but looking through it, it's nicely designed and nicely laid out, so I want to do a shout out to, I believe that's Kathan's team who works on that.
You know, we
Kathan wouldn't
we
touch
do work
it.
collaboratively with a lot of people and a lot of, so yes, Kathan, and she, actually gets us in touch with the printers that we need to deal with. And so it's become kind of a process now, so. But yeah, a lot of people involved in this document, so appreciate all the work that everyone does with that.
And I'm sure once I read it, I will appreciate your team even more for once I have the opportunity to read it.
There you go.
So, there
And
you
lots
go.
of good student artwork in there, too.
Yeah, I was flipping through that. It looked nice, yeah.
Yes.
All right, so the next thing on our agenda is the board president's report. So I just wanted to let everyone know from the last regular meeting, our board committee task force liaison assignments have been finalized. I did send everyone a link to that. We did make one addition. I'd like to thank Gabe for volunteering to be our board liaison for the Peacemakers Alliance. So Gabe is going to be our person on that. And I think since the last time also, I'm now on the Health and Wellness Committee for the district. And I will work to get this list. I think we should post it to the website. I don't think we've ever done that before, but
It makes sense
I
to
think
put
we
it up
should.
on the website.
So I will get it to Kathan and we can get it up under the board. Also, I wanted to let everyone know that on Monday evening, I spoke at the Cleveland Heights City Council meeting during public comments. I went and thanked council for passing the legislation to fund the lifeguards. And I greatly appreciate that. Now we'll see where that goes. I know it's getting late in the season for spring swim. I think that there should be plenty of time if the city and, our staff can work together, hopefully to have the pool open for the fall, just kind of to manage expectations of the community. A couple of reminders. We have our first session for our equity training from 5:30 to 7:30. That's going to be on Wednesday, March 13th. It'll be here at the board offices. Also, next week's a big week. We also have our board retreat next Saturday. That's the 16th. That'll be starting at 9 a.m. here in the board offices as well. And I want to remind everyone that early voting has begun for the spring primary, which officially takes place March 19th. So you can start voting now. And I encourage everyone to exercise their civic duty and make a plan to vote. We have a number of kindergarten kickoffs taking place, and I'm hoping that board members will attend some of those. I know a couple of you have already attended the first one. Thank you for that. And anywhere we can divide and conquer is fantastic. And I want to remind people that the District Art Show at the Lee Road Library will be running Tuesday, April 9th through May 3rd, and the award ceremony will take place at 7 o'clock on April 9th. And I encourage everyone to stop by and see the amazing art our kids are producing. This is one of my favorite things. I love going to the library and seeing all of the art. And I want to add a special thanks to our art teachers for the work they put into organizing this event. And I'm just always amazed at the talent of our children that are on display. And well, I haven't yet received the request. I know it's coming, but I wanted to check with the board to see if you're interested in marching in this year's University Heights Memorial Day Parade. If so, I will take care of the paperwork, but I need to make sure that, I'm not going to be the lone person marching there.
You in a tiger suit?
Yeah, me in the tiger suit in the hot sun, yeah.
And the date for that is, come on.
I didn't look that up.
Last weekend in May.
Yeah, it's
That's what I'm
always
looking at, but it's not coming up on my
I can
calendar.
tell you what it is.
27th.
Monday.
Monday the 27th.
Yes, Monday the 27th. And it's usually.
At 11 o'clock
The parade's at 11.
kickoff,
We usually have
yep.
to line up at 10:15. I'll get you all the details.
It's fun.
It is fun.
It is a lot of fun. And if we're interested in it, I
I'm
will
in.
organize the stickers and the temporary tattoos we hand out, the tiger.
The tattoos.
The tigers, yes, they're popular.
We ran out last time of tattoos, and we only had stickers, and the children were so disappointed.
And we had great helpers last year, too.
Yeah.
That was
Yes.
the other thing. We got to find some volunteers.
Liz handles that. She gets me the volunteers.
She'll get us a team.
And Joe, yeah, Joe D'Amato gives us that. The reason I will tell you we ran out of temporary tattoos is because I personally funded the stickers and the tattoos were more expensive than the stickers, so I didn't order as
I'll
many.
kick in
So
for the
if anyone
temporary
wants to
tattoos.
kick in,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
would,
You
you know,
know how
I
to
would
find
take
me.
that. And I believe since we have 2 new board members, that we need to get you jerseys to wear.
I
So-
saw you wearing a jersey, though.
That was a Kelsey jersey.
It was a Kelsey
Yeah.
jersey from the
Oh.
Heights Athletic Boosters, which
It wasn't
I'll talk about
it wasn't
in our
BOE,
committee
huh?
report.
Team BOE.
It did not say Crenshaw on the back, right?
Okay, so that's something that we'll have to work on if you guys are interested in participating in the Memorial Day parade.
I'm in.
Okay, I have a couple of correspondence, but I will save that for that part of the meeting. So at this point, if we have any board committee, that's the rest of my board president's report. So if we have any board committee reports, anyone would like to go?
I have. So the Equity Committee will be reconvening in April and planning to review the current equity building champion description and discuss ICS work and the next steps in that framework. I also want to give an update for Heights Athletic Boosters. So far, 62 senior banners for fall sports were mounted and created.
Excellent.
43 senior banners for winter sports were created. All sports have welcome packets, and so the welcome packets are there for families to put them in touch with the different coaches and just let them know about the process for the individual sports. There were also 2 successful tailgates that were hosted, along with the homecoming parade that had more than 1,300 participants. There was the design and sale of the replica Kelsey jerseys that Malia, that you saw me in. And so that's what the organization has done. What they're planning to do is, of course, banners, senior banners for spring sports. On this upcoming Thursday, March 14th, there will be a college recruiting information panel at 7 p.m. in the mini auditorium. There is also a used equipment sale for baseball and softball gear on March 16th from 10 to 2 at the Rec Center. And the organization continues to raise funds for different things such as helping to support the bowling team and also raising funds for the Javon Pryor Memorial Scholarship. And planning for next year's tailgate events is happening. Yep.
Excellent. I'm really excited about the college recruiting seminar. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Great work. Any other committee reports?
Heights Schools Foundation had a great night, as Liz mentioned, down at the Cavs, which was fantastic. We've got another Heights Schools Foundation meeting scheduled for next week. The fundraising goes on to support the work of our teachers in our classrooms, and scholarships for our students is ongoing. And the Heights Coalition for Public Education has got a new meeting on the calendar, so we're looking forward to getting together with those folks.
Great.
I have 2 things. Although I'm no longer our representative on the Reaching Heights board, I am the main recruiter for the spelling bee. And I have not yet signed up for a school board team. But the spelling bee is on Wednesday, the 10th of April. And I need some people to embarrass themselves in public with me because it's my specialty.
What's the size of the team again? Is it 4?
3 people and 1 alternate because something usually goes wrong. I mean, we all have complicated lives. So it's 6:30 to 9:30-ish. You get fed before the 7 o'clock start.
I cannot this year.
I will be out of town that week.
Yeah, pressure's on,
Uh-oh, Phil, Jody, now you're in trouble.
What's that date one more time? Sorry.
Wednesday, the 10th of April, which is my father's birthday. So I will go and spell in his memory.
I should be able to do
Or
that.
misspell in his memory.
Yeah.
He's the one who taught me, as a professional journalist, to always leave 3 spelling mistakes in any article you submit to your editor, so that the editor doesn't trash what you're saying and just goes after the spelling mistakes. And I used that as an English major in college as well. Just leave 3 obvious mistakes so that your ideas don't get destroyed. I hope there are no English teachers listening to this.
As a non-English teacher, I right-click on the little squiggly line words quite a lot, so, yeah.
Yeah, well, this was before the squiggly lines were available on a screen, so. All right.
Not sure if I'll be back in town,
Oh, you're going away.
but I will let you know.
All right, well.
It's the eclipse.
Yes.
If it's cloudy
Oh, right,
here,
okay, so
I'm-
that's my second
Yes.
topic.
If
is
it's
the
cloudy
eclipse.
here, I'm traveling.
If it's cloudy here, you're going to hightail it to someplace not cloudy.
Yes.
So the eclipse is Monday, the 8th of April. It will be happening around about 3 o'clock. The schools, thank you, Liz, have the day off so that parents, families, students can concentrate on the eclipse and not getting run over. There are special events at the libraries. There's a special event at the Walt, which UH is organizing. And for those who want to get into a car, you can go to the Arboretum, where they are also planning a whole bunch of eclipse watching activities. So the most important thing is to get yourself a pair of cheapo eclipse glasses or really expensive welding glasses if you have those. But this is not to be missed. It's, dare I say it, more important than the spelling bee.
And make sure your glasses are ISO certified 12323.2.
What, are you, did you used to work for engineers?
Yeah. Yes, yes,
I
I
know.
did. As a matter of fact, yes, I did.
Isn't there a quick time period that you can take your glasses off, though?
During
when it's-
totality,
yes.
yes, you got 3 minutes, honey. And don't mess up which 3 minutes
Don't mess
those are.
up, yes. Or you can do the pinhole through the box.
Yeah, pinhole
thing.
cameras with a cardboard box are
Yep,
really easy and fun as well.
that's what I did for the last eclipse.
Right, when we had the partial eclipse.
Yep, and that was pretty cool. It
Glasses
worked.
are cheap on Amazon.
Yeah. But
For
make sure you get the right
Another week or so before
Yes.
they run out.
And if you're doing welding glasses, they've got to be at least level 12 or 13 darkness.
Right, which,
Let the record show.
Saying, I want people to
which
protect
Mr.
your eyes.
Porter has over at Morotech, just saying, because he
Protect
does
your
have a
eyes.
little
It's
welding
important.
cage over there.
It's important.
Step out
Yeah.
on the south lawn and look up.
No, don't.
Don't do that. Okay, any other board committee reports?
PTA council meeting next Tuesday, looking forward to attending that, and I'll report back.
Great. And the safety committee is going to be meeting in April, and health and wellness met on the 28th. I was not there because I was traveling, but they will be meeting, I think it's the third Tuesday of March and April and May, so I have that on my calendar.
Oh, last thing, Policy Review Committee is meeting next week at 4 o'clock on Wednesday, the 13th. And I assume there's a battery of things to read before then, so.
Probably. Okay, any new business?
I don't think so.
Any unfinished business? I will,
Can I say something about the senior class fundraiser?
oh, sure.
So, and I'll send this out too as well. We sent it in the weekly, but I'll send it out widely. So, you know, the senior class of 2024 is a class that missed 8th grade. They half their year. That's when COVID happened, so they didn't get the trip.
They didn't get their promotion
They
ceremonies.
didn't get a promotion ceremony. They had a weird first years of high school. They are definitely our smallest class in the high school. They're doing a fundraiser for Bloom Spring Flowers. So it is springtime. If you are looking for flowers for your garden, they are selling beautiful flowers. The fundraiser goes through March 21st, and they'll do a pickup at the high school on April 25th. So we just really want to support them. They're planning a carnival and a picnic for the senior class, just some special events for them because they kind of had a rough go of it from 8th grade all the way, through those first couple of years of high school. So just please support, and I'll send something special out just
Great.
on that.
How do we purchase?
There's an online
A
link.
link?
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
Great.
Yeah, I'll put it in our communication.
Thank you.
Okay, so we do have a couple of correspondence and announcements. First of all, I believe we all received an invitation to the Cleveland Heights Teachers Union's celebration for their 80th year anniversary. So that's pretty exciting, and it's a 40s theme is encouraged, but optional. So if you have not been to check your mailbox, and you will have one of those in there. Also, we got a recognition, we got a resolution from the Ohio Senate in recognition of Public Schools Week, and this is from Senator Kent Smith from the 21st Senatorial District, and I will read this just because it's very nice. The week was actually last week, February 26th through March 1st. But it says, whereas Ohio's 611 public school districts serve more than 1.8 million students and employ more than 245,000 Ohioans full-time, and whereas Cleveland Heights University Heights City School District operates 11 schools and serves 4,900 students, and whereas the Ohio Constitution guarantees all children a free public education of high quality, and whereas an education citizenry is essential to our democracy, and whereas Ohio citizens recognize the important role that an effective education plays in preparing all students to be successful adults, and whereas public education contributes to the economic vitality of the Buckeye State and to vibrant communities, and whereas Ohio's public school district administrators, teaching professionals, and support staff are committed to educating all children, and whereas public education is celebrated across the country by millions of students, parents, educators, schools, and organizations to raise awareness of the need for effective public schools. Therefore, I, Senator Kent Smith, do thereby recognize February 26th through March 1st, 2024 as Public Schools Week and call this observance to the attention of all Ohioans.
Very nice of the senator.
Wonderful. So that was very nice of him. And the last thing I want to read is a correspondence that Liz received, and it was about one of our staff members. And it does share some personal information, and he gave permission for us to share this, so I just wanted to make sure people know that. And letter says, Dear Superintendent Kirby, I hope this email finds you doing well as you steer the ship at Cleveland Heights. I wanted to call out your attention to a special member of your Heights family, Sean Sullivan, who is a lifelong resident, alum, teacher, and coach in your community. If you don't know Sean, you should. This guy is a superhero, battling cancer every single day since I met him 2 years ago, and always talking to me about calves and about how we can collaborate together to make a difference in the Cleveland Heights community. He has forged a strong relationship with our Cleveland Cavaliers youth sports program, in which we have made appearances at the high school, swagged out some kids in Heights Cavs gear, poured resources into your youth coaches and adults in the community, and we have a coaching clinic with the Positive Coaching Alliance on March 9th for all of the youth leaders coaching our youth of Cleveland Heights. We love Sean, and I just felt the need to reach out and share a small snippet of this man's impact on your community that is often overlooked and underappreciated. Youth sports is in dire straits, and we are so lucky and blessed to have leaders like Sean stepping up with the NBA and Cavs to do the right things for our youth through sport. So I just wanted to share that. I thought that was a really nice tribute. And I know Sean's been here before. He's been a Tiger Team Member of the Month. He's presented about STEM, and he's just a wonderful asset to our district.
He's also a member of the Heights High Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
And a great DJ for the Garrity holiday party. Decked out in 90s gear.
All right.
DJ.
And I know
the kids ran around. That's how they danced. They ran.
Well, that's what you do when you're...
Yeah.
I remember getting to do a walkthrough once at Garrity and being in his STEM class. And the kids were very, very engaged. It was a lot of fun.
I got to judge one of the activities at the science fair at Garrity a few years ago, which he organizes with the other teachers. It's a huge project, a lot of work, and the kids did fantastic.
Great.
Yeah, my introduction to Mr. Sullivan was when he was coaching youth soccer that Olivia did at Denison, and if anyone hasn't seen it, it's incredible. He walks around the field with a wireless mic, and he's like talking to everyone, and there's music playing. It's like, it's wild. It's not like any youth sport I've ever seen in my life. So, yeah, kudos.
And that's the feeder program for
For the high school.
everything else, yes.
You got to start them young.
All right, well, if there's nothing else, then I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
I motion we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Before we vote, I got this in the mail today. I don't know if you all got yours.
I didn't.
It's fantastic. I wanted to thank Kathan and her team. This is the quarterly update to every household in Cleveland Heights and University Heights and 6th Streets in South Euclid. And so go home and check your mailbox. It's beautiful, it's well-designed, it's easy to read, and it gives people who don't have a connection to the school district a quick summary of why this place matters. It's great. Thank you. Okay, now we can vote.
Okay, now, Mr. Gaynor, will you call the roll?
Mr. Hines?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Ms. Serena?
Yes.
Mr. Trimble?
Yes.
Ms. Crenshaw?
Yes.
We are adjourned. Good night, everyone. Thanks.